I'm Carolyn Parrs, and I am the principal and founder of Mind Over Markets, better known as MOM, and we're a green marketing company focused on green products and services for the last 10.5 years. My background, however, when I first got out of school, I hit Madison Avenue and I worked on some big brands and as a copywriter, a young copywriter, and had really cut my teeth there, working on brands such as IBM, AT&T, General Foods, Manufacturers Hanover, and on and on. And then I started a manufacturing company called Pucci. This is a sidebar. Pucci, which was a designer pet supplies back in the 80s, and used a lot of my marketing know-how for that. Sold that company to the ConAgra Corporation in 4 years, and then consulted from then on in marketing. So my latest endeavor has been green, and I've been entrenched in that for the last 10 years. So Mind Over Markets services a broad range of, I would say, ecologically or health-focused companies, from renewable energy, energy utility company, to agriculture, sustainable agriculture, organic food, even pet products, some pet products, and educational institutions. So even though it's a broad range, there's always a thread of a company that wants to position themselves in some way, shape, or form in the green space. And they often come to an advertising agency or communications firm so that they don't do the obvious greenwashing things and make sure that their story is communicated well. We talk about green products and services and who is the consumer for green really, and it's been segmented over and over again, and basically what we look at is the deep green segment, which is 19% of the this is the US population I'll speak on, that are willing to pay a premium. They're buying with their values. They're willing to pay a premium. It's more than a product or service, it's a way of life. And they'll consider themselves, you know, greenies, right, or environmentalists. Then the meat of the market is about 32%, and we call them the medium greens, right? And they'll buy a green product or service, but it has to make sense. They look at economics, they'll look at ecology, they'll look at efficacy, and it has to be balanced. And if it does, and if it is balanced, green could be a tipping point, right? And they'll buy a green product. But they won't buy it just because it has an eco label on it. Then there are the light greens, and I call them sometimes like the Walmart shopper, right? So it's like, wow, it's on sale. The organic milk is the same price as conventional milk. I'll try that. And sometimes they get converted that way, but it's not environmentally focused at all. As a matter of fact, sometimes it's something else. And a story around that is I had a friend of mine who was an avid Walmart shopper, and she knew I was an organic kind of person, and she called me up and she said, Carolyn, I bought organic milk today at Walmart. And I said, fabulous. What made you do it? Well, organics. And I'm thinking she's going to say it's healthy, it's right for the environment. She goes, no, the expiration date was longer than conventional milk. And I'm like, way to go. So that is the light green, right? It's really not about the environment, but it was really price driven. And then the rest, that is 16% of the population. And then the rest, we call them non-greens, and sometimes it could even be a little political thing. So they're not interested, and they may not even buy a green product because it says so. When marketing a green product, I actually focus mostly on that middle area, that medium green, right? And where ecology is where it began, but it's really important to balance all three, and I call it spell green with 3 E's, and it's ecology, efficacy, and economy. Okay, so those are really important things. So what is the primary reason someone's going to buy a service, product or service? Often green isn't it. They're buying it because it performs better. They're buying it because it's less money. And then green, the green message can be that tipping point, right, to be a competitive advantage. But it's not the message that I for most of my clients, tell them to come out of the gate. So we look at in our world, a hierarchy of messages. For instance, one client of mine has a recycled agricultural growing medium, right? And it works unbelievable. It's made all from recycled glass. So that sounds like an incredibly green story, right? The truth of the matter is how we marketed this is that the performance on this product surpasses its competition. It was all performance. And then we came in with how it was made with recycled products, which was like, wow, it was the icing on the cake, but it was not the cake, right? The cake it's a high performance growing medium. And that's how we did it. And that's really important to note when you're doing green marketing or green positioning. It's dig deep into the product. Why are they going to buy it? Often, people don't buy products to save the environment, to save the planet. They buy it for a personal benefit for themselves or to enhance their life. Find out what that is, and then bring in the green message on top after that. And that is a great combination. Some of the smaller companies often are their owners or their founders are themselves green, and you can see that they end up pushing that deep green values over and over again. But that is a rarity because often those companies are looking at the bottom line, and they're also looking at the triple bottom line, what they call people, planet, and profit. Okay, and all of those have equal weight. But for everybody else, right? It's really finding the part of their business or story that hasn't been told. Okay, and let me give you an example. A pallet company, shipping pallets, wood, very unsexy product, okay? And they came to us, they've been doing the same thing over and over again, but they found out what was happening in the marketplace is that the supply chain was being greened up, and actually back to Walmart, they were the ones that started that, and they came to Mind Over Markets and said, we'd like to tell our story because we think we have a green one, but that's not how they were ever positioned. But the truth of the matter is they did. What they used on their wood came from reclaimed furniture, so it wasn't even virgin, came from virgin forests. And then they would build them and then reuse them, recycle them, and then when they finished it, they ended up having a secondary business in mulch. Great, that's a great green story, but it was really the bottom line story for them because there was many different ways that they could make money on their particular product. So what I would say is that because we're seeing more and more green products on the market, I think in the future that it's not going to really be green, it's just going to be the way it is. It's part of the design position of the product from the beginning. And green will just be, I think it'll be I hate to say that because I have a green marketing company, but the point of the matter, the point I'm making is that green will just be the way it is, and it won't be something that you hang your shingle out on. Greenwashing is a very big topic in my world. It's about misinforming really your customers on the practices and/or products, services, ingredients, whatever it is in your field about what and your practices and what you're doing. People have been nailed for that, and actually it has a detrimental effect. And let me give you an example. There was a motor company in 2004 came out on Super Bowl Sunday with Kermit the Frog and Kermit the Frog saying it's easy to be green, right? And they had their new hybrid car. But the fact of the matter, the next day, if you Googled greenwashing, they owned the 3 pages for that because they made a lot of cars that polluted and very few hybrids. And those environmentalists who may be small but have big voices, right? They're very present in the marketplace, nailed them for that. So it's tricky. I believe in transparency, all right? So it's really important to let your customers know what's happening right across the board. A great company that does this is Patagonia. They actually have their website. They have what they're not doing well and what they're doing well and how they're trying to do it better. And they charge themselves a 10% earth tax. They're more of a deep green company, but for the pollution that they think that happens in the manufacturing process. So, but for an energy company that I'm working with, right, it's tricky, right? Because the energy, and there's many forms of energy, right? And many of those forms are not considered green at all. and how the work that I'm doing with that is actually just turning up the volume of what they are doing right, that people don't know. So it's not greenwashing, it's just showing their customers and educating their customers even more so on the practices and the efforts that they have made that often are not told well, and making sure that the language they use is right for the audience that it's going for. In today's world and energy, it's changed dramatically, right? I mean, we used to turn the lights on, turn the lights off, and didn't think about it, paid our bill, done. But energy, what's happening in the United States and beyond is changing. We see more renewable energy. We see big activist voice in the field. And now, energy companies need to market. They need to speak to their customer. They need to have communication. They can't go to sleep. So one of the great ways that I think companies can do that is through social media and the explosion of that, where they can get online and have one-on-one conversations with their customers and even meet them with really difficult questions online. And it's really important that they don't ignore that, because what will happen is that immediately the negative perception will reign if they don't say anything. So social media is a great way to be able to reinforce what they're doing well and to meet the group that has a negative impact on in their company in a transparent way. So putting in place a strategy for communication around their customers is really important, and social media is one of the best ways to do it. They can also take it offline. They can answer a question. This is a great way, and then talk to that customer like one-on-one. Say, hey, I'd love to take this offline to explain this even further, so it doesn't keep on going and going and going on social media. But it is really important to validate their customers, and that can happen right on social. So what we're seeing now in environmentally focused activist groups or special interest groups are becoming more and more sophisticated. Gone are the days where it's just a picket, and a sign in front of a building, and that still happens, but it's going way beyond that. Okay, so it's really important, again, to have, for an energy company to have their strategies and to be able to meet their environmentalists, right, and have communication. I can't emphasize that enough, to have communication with those groups that are willing to meet them, right? There's often meeting in the middle, right, and not all the way to the left or all the way to the right. So just note that it's a more sophisticated audience today, and those environmentalists, which are part of my world. I mean, I'm a green marketing company, and I work with them many times, that they are hiring sophisticated marketing companies as well, and using tactics and strategies to further their cause. We live in really interesting times right now. It's a really exciting time. There's nothing that's set in stone anymore, right? We have the ability to bring people together like we've never had with the internet and with social media. So I guess how I'd like to leave this is that having all the parties come together, right? The left and the right, to come together and meet the challenges that we're having. We need all minds right now. Everybody's got to be in the game, right? We need to do this together. And if you're in a more traditional role, lean in, right? Lean in. And if you're in an activist role, lean into the middle and have those conversations to really solve the energy problems, the food problems, the things that are happening on the planet right now with our children today, because often we don't have the map that the past is the past, we're in a new day, and it's about the meeting of the minds. And I think we're all in have a great opportunity to do that right now.